We've all been there. We've all glanced at the drop in oblivion and thought,
there is absolutely no way I will ever go on that roller coaster. If you drag me on that roller coaster, I will physically tell your mom.
And we've all queued for 95 minutes, overthinking and panicking about it, only to walk straight past the train and directly through the exit.
I'll never get that 95 minutes back.
You're watching ScrewyLoops, and this is our guide to overcoming your fear of roller coasters. Fear of heights, fear of going upside down, fear of sheer drops, fear of dying, fear of throwing up, which is actually the worst one in my opinion when it comes to rides and roller coasters.
There are so many types of fear, and there's a good chance you've probably ticked a couple of these if you're watching this video.
Fears are obstacles, challenges which exist to be conquered, some obviously more difficult than others, and they all require willpower in order to do so. We have all got the willpower to overcome our fears, it's just finding that set of keys and unlocking it. And in this video, my aim is to help you unlock that willpower and overcome your greatest fear of roller coasters. And I'm not going to say it's an easy task, because it isn't. This is all dependent on you. You are the cure to these fears in which you are facing every time you step foot onto a roller coaster.
But first, let me tell you a little story about myself. I used to be petrified of coasters.
I used to be scared of heights, going upside down, falling out, you name it. I probably was just as, if not more scared than you are right now. Heck, up until the age of 11, the scariest ride I'd done was probably the flume at Alton Towers. I'm not even joking. To me back then, that drop was like oblivion, and the fact that this thing didn't have any restraints at all gave me the absolute worst panic attacks whilst climbing the lift hill. I was terrified.
I used to hold onto the side rails like this.
And then I accidentally rode Enterprise. Oh boy, I'll be honest, I had no idea what this ride did, but I did see that there were clearly no restraints and thought, yeah, this'll be fine, it won't go upside down, it hasn't got a lap bar, let alone the ones that go over your shoulders. So off we went. We were level to the ground, but it was picking up some serious speed. I could feel my face sinking down from the forces and thought, okay, this is pretty scary. We began to tilt steeper and steeper until eventually I turned to my friend and said,
hang on, we're going upside down, but it still feels like we're on the ground.
It was at this point I discovered the magic of G-force. I was buzzing so much I had the balls to let go of the bars and put my hands up. I've finally done it. I've gone upside down and it felt more exciting than it was scary. I felt like I conquered everything. Until I come off and looked straight at oblivion and thought,
there is absolutely no way I will ever go on that roller coaster.
It's like finally beating Silver Sonic in Death Egg Zone to find a much bigger and far more intimidating boss on the other side. Screw you, Dr. Oblivion Man. Why am I still afraid? I've conquered my fears, I've gone upside down, and I'm scared of a glorified flume drop. Heck, you even get wet from the mist to see it. It's just a big black log flume. I clearly had a long way to go, but you know what? I was determined to do this. My first big coaster was Shockwave at Drayton Manor, a pretty intimidating stand-up coaster with 4 inversions. It was very tall for my current level at the time, and you have to stand up. That is not natural. I was terrified, but thanks to good company and having my heart set on a goal, I managed to get on it, even if I did wee myself a little bit.
I was suspended by the crotch, guys.
Despite being devilishly uncomfortable, I got a massive kick from Shockwave. I just couldn't fathom the fact that I had done this coaster. I re-rode it a few more times and it just became easier and easier. The coaster that got me hooked, however, was Nemesis at Alton Towers. Without Nemesis, I wouldn't be the coaster obsessive person I am now. Without Nemesis, I wouldn't have had the piss taken out of me throughout my school years for basing every single piece of work on roller coasters. And without Nemesis, there would be no ScrewyLoops.
That's just upsetting.
Nemesis showed me that there really was nothing to be afraid of. It showed me that coasters are much more than fear-inducing machines, and that they can be fun, artistic, and also a legal high. Don't do drugs, kids. My fear turned into fascination. I wanted to find the next big buzz. Okay, here we go again. Oblivion. Standing in all its intimidating glory. I've got you in plain sight now. I said, you don't look so tough.
As I glare with cack in my pants.
Yeah, I was still petrified of this thing and I couldn't put my finger on why. But enough was enough. I finally mustered up the courage and stepped into the unfortunately very short queue. I felt physically sick from the nerves. It was like doing the flume all over again. Hands were clammy, deep breaths. I can do this, I can do this, I can... Oh, is that it? I've done it. That wasn't that bad at all. It was literally just one drop and done. I couldn't believe it. All those years looking at Oblivion and saying,
there is absolutely no way I will ever go on that roller coaster.
And it really is just the drop from the flume.
Rollercoasters. Completed it, mate.
Just like that, I pretty much overcame my fear of roller coasters. Next. So, how does one overcome their fear of roller coasters? As I mentioned earlier on, there is no definitive cure to this dilemma. Sure, you can pop some anti-sickness tablets and those bands on your arm if you're afraid you're going to spew, but the psychological aspect will always be there. Like most phobias, they won't be extinguished until you look them straight in the eye and say,
look, I ain't taking any of your crap no more.
Next time you see that horrid drop on Oblivion, you tell it, I ain't taking your crap, you frickin' scumbag. Okay, I admit, that won't get you nowhere and probably make you look a little bit crazy, but face your fears with determination. There is absolutely nothing to really be afraid of. What is the worst that could happen? And don't you dare say,
could fly off the tracks and explode.
Because you are 2 million times more likely to get injured on the car journey there than actually on the coaster itself, and that is a fact. I think. Close enough anyway. Roller coasters are safe, you have nothing to worry about. And going upside down doesn't actually feel like going upside down. Just take my word for it. When I first went upside down, I thought it would feel like I'm going to fall out. But you don't. I could go into the detail about the physics side of it, but I'll leave Coasterbot to do that dirty work. Check his channel out in the card above. The honest truth is, it's all down to you. It doesn't matter how much I blabber on about it, the real key to overcoming your fears is you. And as a way to help boost motivation, I've asked a few friends and familiar faces to share their stories with you right now. So take it away, guys. Yep.
Hello, DigitalDan here. Once upon a time, I was terrified of roller coasters. I remember my first ever trip to Thorpe Park. The only roller coaster I did that day was Colossus, and the thing that got me on that was literally just thinking, I'm gonna regret this if I don't do it. Like, I might as well just go on it. What is the worst that could happen? And then after that trip, Colossus basically got me hooked. I started watching as many videos as I could about roller coasters, you know, just seeing like what they were like, what people thought of them, and eventually I managed to go on all of the rides at Thorpe, and I now bloody love the things.
I think you've always liked rides, haven't you?
Always, yeah.
Very different to me. I really didn't enjoy them as a kid. When we first got together, we went to Blackpool a couple of times. I didn't go on the big one. I don't even think I went on Infusion. No. And we had our first holiday to California, where we did all of the parks there. I missed out half of the courses at Magic Mountain. Yeah, after then we went to Portaventura for our first visit, and you went on Shambhala a few times.
Yeah, I went on about 4 times.
Yeah.
And then I dragged Tom on it.
Finally.
But the best way is honestly just to go on it.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it and I thought, like, I paid all this money, I need to get on it. I went on it, I absolutely loved it. And yeah, I think we did it a good 50 times that trip. Later on that month, I did get back to Blackpool and finally went on the big one. And yeah, I just loved courses ever since.
Yeah, so make sure you go on with someone that's already conquered the fear.
Yeah,
it does help.
5 years on, loving coasters more than ever.
Yes, it's Airtime John, here to offer some advice for those of you who are suffering with anxiety over coasters. Now, I don't suffer with that anymore. That was quite a few years ago, but star flyers are my big fear. However, let's not look at it as a fear. Let's look at it as excitement. That's how I combat fear or nerves. I take a negative and I turn it into a positive, because they're very similar emotions. Fear and nerves are quite like excitement. So make that mental shift. Tell yourself that you're excited. You're not scared, you're excited. Negative to a positive. Try it, it might work. Good luck.
I'd say I mainly started riding coasters in general when I kept going to Blackpool Pleasure Beach with my family, we'd go on some of the rides, and my main memory from that place when I was younger was mainly Big Dipper, and also I think it was called the Zipper Dipper as well. And later on, I rode Air for the first time at Alton Towers, and I was bricking it, let's be honest. And from that point, by the way, I absolutely loved that ride. When I got off it, I was scared beforehand, and I absolutely loved it afterwards, and I wanted to go on it again and again. And I slowly wanted to ride every ride at Alton Towers. I went on Nemesis and bawled my eyes out before I even got on it, and again, loved it afterwards. But in all honesty, if it weren't for my family there, basically spurring me on to go on the ride, I probably wouldn't have. And that didn't really happen with Oblivion, because I went straight on that as there was no queue. And I'd say that ride on Oblivion completely swept away my fear of roller coasters as a whole.
Hi, it's Mikey from the ScareTrack and ScareTrack Podcast. Thank you for letting me come on this ScrewyLoops video. I was terrified of roller coasters when I was younger. I wouldn't go on anything bigger than the Runaway Mine Train, and I think it was because I just saw how fast, intense, how high they looked, and I was short for my age. Everyone else was taller than me. I was a little bit of the wimp, and I wouldn't go on anything. I was just holding the bags every time me and my family would go for our birthday treat. And then this one year came, 2001, they were building Air, and I was quite fascinated on how they built the coaster. It was looking awesome. And I thought, I want to ride that next year on opening day. But I was scared of coasters. So I thought, I need to start now. Nemesis was right next door. It was the one that scared me the most. There was no queue, so I thought, screw it. I'm going on it, and I'm going to love it. If I didn't like it, it was only 90 seconds of my life that I wasn't going to enjoy. I loved it, and it's given me so many more seconds, minutes, days, weeks, years of enjoying these theme parks, these roller coasters. So if I was to give anyone any advice on how to get over your fears, just go on it, don't think about it, and it's always better when there's no queue.
Hi everyone, Alan from Springy Tales here, and a real big experience of being scared of a coaster for me was Oblivion at Alton Towers when that first opened in 1998. I was just about at that age when you start to really get excited and involved with coasters, but the marketing campaign for Oblivion was absolutely terrifying. And then of course the build up, you got the Lord of Darkness going through the queue talking about cars disappearing and it's not safe, run away, all that kind of stuff. It was absolutely terrifying, but I was so glad when I got on that ride and just experienced the drop. It was absolutely worth it. I would say it's worth pushing yourself. If you're scared of a ride, it's absolutely worth trying to push through that fear boundary, because it's really worth it for that hit of adrenaline when you hit that first drop. Obviously there's only one drop on Oblivion, but it's a hell of a good drop. And that's it. That's my experience of, I think after I've been on that, I've never been scared of a coaster quite like that. So it's definitely worth it. There's a coaster that particularly frightens you, say a big high one, say the big one at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Push yourself through it and then you'll find everything else seems kind of easy after that. But of course, lots of fun, all the same. That's what I was looking for. I'm quite tired, I've been out and about all day today. I'll shut up now anyway.
Hiya, Emma from Top Thrill Tourists here. I'm really chuffed that Chris has asked me to comment on this subject because it's something that I do struggle with. I have a fear of heights and a fear of falling, so combined, they can really freak me out sometimes on certain rides. And one of them rides is the big one at Blackpool, for obvious reasons. That lift hill still puts a fear of God in me. But what I've learned to do is kind of take them negative thoughts and put them to the back of my mind, because I know once I get over the top of that lift hill and down that first drop, that the adrenaline is going to take over. I'm going to have the best time, and I'm going to sit on that brake run at the end and think that was absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad I did it. So for me, it's a mind over matter. Just get rid of them negative thoughts and just think about the good times.
Okay, so I wasn't always the biggest fan of thrill rides and roller coasters. In fact, to be honest, sort of growing up, I wasn't really, sort of one to actually ride big rides. So the one that actually got me past that was the Ultimate at Lighwater Valley. Now, for those of you that are familiar with that ride, it's quite unique. It's got quite a thrilling layout, sort of very, very punchy in terms of the second half. And I sort of built up the confidence in terms of going on smaller rides such as Ladybird, The Rat, etc., stuff like that. Doing that and taking those gradual steps for me made the biggest difference ever. I got on the Ultimate, and after I'd done the Ultimate, I literally went to find every single thrill ride out there. So that culminated in me going to Blackpool, getting the likes of the big one, Revolution, various other ones like that. And to be fair, I've been doing the same thing ever since. I've just been looking for the next biggest ride. So for everybody that are, sort of in that position, build your way up, start with small rides, and then just basically sort of get to the bigger rides as you go along. So that's my advice for you guys.
Hi guys, Ben here for one half of Theme Park Nomads, and I'm here to tell you about how to overcome your fear of going on your first ever thrill roller coaster. So, what I personally believe is, it's all about trying to channel your own adrenaline. It's like, for example, if you were just so happened to be in Africa and you got spotted by a tiger. What are you going to do? You're going to run away, where that tiger's most likely going to catch you, or you're going to stay there and fight. That's what you're going to do with a roller coaster, okay? You just got to go on it, and whatever you do, don't just close your eyes, hold on to the restraints, like, don't just go in yourself. What you're going to do is, you're going to look at that first drop and say, yeah, come on then, come at me. That's what you're going to do. So whilst you're going over that first drop, whilst you're stopping at the top of Oblivion, all you have to do is put your arms and everything in the air and say, yes, come on then! And then you'll be get bitten by the theme park roller coaster enthusiasm.
Thanks for sharing your stories, guys, and if you want to share your own, please drop them in the comments below. Be good to hear them. Now there's one final tip I need to give you before we wrap this video up. One of the best ways to overcome your fears is to do so with like-minded people. Ride Your Fears Away is an event set up by a lad called Jack, who also wants to overcome his fear of coasters. And here he is, going to talk you through what it's all about.
Hey, I'm Jack from Ride Your Fears Away. Ride Your Fears Away is an event that I created because I'm scared of heights, which kind of leads me to being scared of roller coasters. I love theme parks, and I don't get to experience them like everyone else. I always feel too scared to even get in the queue line. So I created the event for myself and to get people like-minded to come together and help each other get over their fears. I know there are people out there who are avid theme park goers, who might be scared of certain rides or certain parts of rides. So this is for them, people who are fully scared, new to theme parks, and even enthusiasts to come together, have a good day out and help each other get over their fears.
Ride Your Fears Away takes place on the 6th of June at Alton Towers, links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, smash subscribe for more content like this, and give the bell a flick to keep all up to date. Top left is the latest video, bottom left is a random one, and make sure to hit that button on the right for the ride of your lives. You've been watching ScrewyLoops, ta-ra a bit.